So Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Okay. Tonight, let the record reflect that it is 7:42. This is what I said, 6:42. Okay, let the record reflect it is 6:42. This is a meeting of the Board of Trustees Committee of the Whole for Monday, November the 18th at 6:42. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Denton. Present. Trustee Steve.
Present.
Trustee House.
Present.
Trustee Tammy Brown. Absent.
Trustee Brown advises she wouldn't be here tonight.
Trustee Holmes.
Present.
Trustee Henry.
Present.
We have a quorum, 5 members of the board. Let the record reflect that the Board of Department heads are here. If everyone will stand for a pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would remain standing, I ask that SC lead us in prayer tonight.
Everyone bow their heads. In the name of God, the beneficent and merciful God, thank you for another day of life. Bless us with a unified meeting tonight. Bless us with a peaceful meeting tonight. And bless us to go home safe and enjoy our families and enjoy our life. And bless us with long life, long health. We ask this in the name of all your righteous servants, from Abraham to Moses to Jesus to Muhammad. Amen.
Amen. Let's see, general announcers. Okay. Next thing on the agenda is general announcements. Fire Chief.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we invited the Red Cross out to speak a little bit, so I'm asked Paul and Tanya, come on up.
Thank you for having us, Chief. If I yell in this thing, you got to let me know that I'm yelling. Would you speak louder?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, man. So as Chief Dyer said, my name is Paul. I work with the Disaster Cycle Services team in the American Red Cross.
My name is Tanya, and I'm the Disaster Program Specialist up at the Red Cross.
And we are here today because Chief Dyer invited us to talk about smoke detectors and home fire safety awareness. We are currently building a partnership with your local fire department based off of Chief Dyer's initiative, which will put free smoke detectors into any residents' homes that you want. So Tanya, how many people on a daily basis in the United States die from home fire?
Approximately about 7, and this affects mostly the elderly and young children.
Yeah. And how much money does that cost on a yearly basis?
So that costs about $7 billion to the U.S., but that also depending on what your living situation is. So if you rent your location, if you don't have renter's insurance, if the landlord has homeowner's insurance, that does not cover your stuff. So that's definitely something to look into if you do rent a location. Right. It's actually not very much. It's about anywhere from $10 to $30 a month. And if you have if you do own a home, please make sure that you do have homeowner's insurance, as there will be no way to really fix your home if there were to be a fire.
Sure. So the American Red Cross has been doing this for many years, but over this year, how many lives have been saved in America? Yes, in America, per our smoke alarm installations.
Over 600 lives have been saved in the last about 5 years just from the smoke alarms that we've installed. The most recent story was one down in Rockford. Yep. We had an installation event down there in May, and they actually had a fire in September, and they were able to get out safely because of the smoke alarms that we had installed earlier in that year.
Right. So having said all of this, obviously there's a lot of importance. The smoke alarms that we have are 10-year lithium-ion batteries, so the minute they're installed, they're installed. And having said all this, we're, again, like I said, creating a partnership with your local fire department. What you can do to get involved is that there's actually a sign-up sheet back there. So you can sign up if you want your home or you want a family member's home to have like free smoke alarms installed. We also have a website which is
getasmokealarm.org.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. And again, you can go to that and you can sign up, and then your fire department will facilitate coming out to your home and installing those smoke alarms. So that's all we have. Thank you for your time. Stay safe.
I got a question.
Yeah, please
The
do.
fire department, our fire department installs the smoke alarms?
Yeah, so there's a couple. I'm sorry to cut you off.
And is there a limit to how many that they install in each house?
There's not. On average, we do 3, but we kind of just go into people's homes and whatever they want and whatever seems to be appropriate. That's kind of what we do. So no, there's not a limit.
There's no limit to it.
Yeah.
But there is a limit on how many we get a month, so we just can't, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what your capacity is. I mean, I know that the fire department is very busy, and so it depends on how many people have asked that month, and it depends on how many people have asked that month, and the capacity of the fire department. We also do have volunteers who come out and do installations. So if anyone was interested in volunteering with us and actually going out and installing, because I know that a lot of the homeowners actually don't have like the ability to install these alarms, they can do that through him, and then we can just give the alarms, send you guys off on the appointments that we've received, and you'd be good to go.
Yeah. So
Great, thanks.
awesome. Good. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Won't be any overtime installing those alarms.
One quick question. Are there any allocations being made toward carbon monoxide?
Yeah, unfortunately, these devices are only smoke detectors. We've had a couple people reach out and ask about carbon monoxide, so we're these get donated to us, right? And so that's why we can give them out for free. And so the idea is to maybe try to coerce other donors into giving us CO2 devices as well. But unfortunately, currently we don't have that. Yeah. But thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
And for anyone else, we're taking sign-ups here at the Village, at the front, and if you can't come in, the number to reach is 708-201-2995, and that's Ms. Tawanda Morgan, 708-201-2995. And speaking of the carbon monoxide detectors, myself and Deputy Chief Rush reached out to Menards. So Home Depot in the city of Chicago was doing an event where they were selling smoke detectors for $1 for the weekend. So myself and Chief Rush went to Menards, and we're also trying to facilitate something like that where we can partnership with them, and maybe since we have the free smoke detectors, now we're going to change the smoke detectors. Maybe we'll be able to get some a cheaper rate on the carbon monoxide detectors, because they're both needed. Wherever you have a smoke detector in your home, you should have a carbon monoxide detector in your home. So that's something that's upcoming. And I also wanted to talk about real quick cold weather operations, or dangerous cold weather 2019-2020. We talked about having warming centers. So we have a warming center at Melanie's Fitness. It's open from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it's closed Sunday. We're also in a partnership with the Park District. It's open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Saturday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll put some of these flyers up in the front for those who would like to take some home. And speaking of cold weather, just want to remind people to make sure you bundle up, wear extra clothing, check schools and work for closings, stay indoors when possible, avoid driving in bad weather, never use extension cords to operate a space heater. Ovens should never be used to heat your home. Keep your phones charged in case of an emergency. And after hours, for cold weather after hours, if you're homeless or displaced, we're going to give you Bud's dispatch number. It's 708-201-3240. 708-201-3240. You can call Bud's after hours, and they'll contact myself, Deputy Chief Rush, or Deputy Chief Lacey, and Chief Mobley. So those are the numbers you can reach us at in case of very cold weather. Thank you. What was it? So,
What was the question? Could you repeat
when they
the
come
question?
pick us up, they said when they come pick us up.
Yeah.
So say if we're talking about like displaced or homeless. So in the case of a displaced family, so say if your water pipes burst or your heat just went out, if you call Bud's dispatch, we would get a police officer to come get you, and we would bring you to the Melanie's Fitness Center. We have cots, or the Park District. So we do have cots available, and yeah, we would come get you if you needed us to come get you. But if not, you can find yourself to the police station, and then or call Buzz Dispatch, and we'll get in touch. We'll catch you.
I say I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Last year, it was a squatter in the house, and there was no heat. And I did go over to the police station, contact the police, and they came out along with the fire department and took the young lady who was combative to the hospital.
Okay.
And I also accompanied her to the hospital. So in the event that this situation arises again, do we just reach out to you guys and give you an address of a squatter that's in the house with no heat?
Well, that's a police matter. I don't even know if they can get a squatter out of a house. You might have to ask. I mean, that's a different. I don't know how they deal with squatters actually. But if the squatter is combative, that's definitely a police matter. And if they took it to the hospital, they must have thought it was a medical issue with the person. So it's not really a fire department issue. It would be more so of a housing police matter if somebody's squatting.
The fire department actually came out also.
Right, he probably requested them or whatever. Right. We come when you call.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? I know, that's what I'm saying. So it's not easy to get squatters out of a place. So, but I'm not in that field, beyond my scope of practice, my expertise. So.
My thing was, I don't know if it was so frigid cold outside. I don't know if the young lady was freezing.
Well, right. So if you call Bud's Dispatch and she comes out, if she was willing to go, she can either go, we'll take her to Melanie's or to the Park District after hours. And she can spend the night, but she won't be able to squat there. She had to find somewhere to. No, I mean,
Thanks, Chief.
That's it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? That's it. Thank you.
Mayor, can it be recognized?
Yeah, go ahead, Trustee.
Good evening. I'm going to ask that those who are here, take advantage of getting a smoke detector. I have worked with this group, Red Cross, during the summer in Chicago. It was a great success, and they come out and they installed the smoke detector. So anyone that's not here, please check on your neighbors and give them a number so they can register to get them, because when we need help, help is here. So there's no need of nobody's complaining. We started about maybe 7, 8 you all that morning, and they went through until about 3, maybe 4 in that evening. And if those individuals, someone wants to volunteer, come on out. It was a great success here. It was a great success in Chicago. It'll be a great success here. And we need help. You got these smoke detectors. Let's save some lives.
Thanks, Trustee. Any other general announcements?
Mayor, if I could be recognized.
Go ahead.
This month, in the month of November and December, we will not be having our monthly Finance Committee meeting. We had previously announced it, so I'm saying this as a reminder. Our Finance Committee meetings are traditionally the 4th Wednesday of each month. This month, it will be running really close to the Thanksgiving holiday as well as Christmas. So we will not be having those meetings this month or next month. However, I will be working with Clerk Dugan to make sure that our financial reports are accessible, available, and on our website if humanly possible. And then, in addition, if there are any questions, I can be reached at 708-625-1105, phone call or text, or if you want the report sent out, I can also get an email, jhouse@vodolton.org. So any questions, please feel free to make the comments during citizens address or after the meeting. I'll be more than happy to discuss. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next thing is,
May we recognize,
go
Mayor?
ahead, Trustee.
2 things. I had announced last board meeting that we were going to have a Public Works Committee meeting.
on the 20th. But I'm struggling with trying to get everybody here. People's off vacation time, so it's going to be rescheduled till sometime the first or second week in December. But you on your email blast, you just keep up with the email blast, and it will be posted so you'll know when that next Public Works Committee meeting is. We will be dealing with things at the Water Department and things at the Public Works Department getting ready for the wintertime. The second thing I want to talk about, if this is allowed, Mayor, is that we all seen a report about this moldy house that one of our current trustees has. I just want to know what's the process, how much money did we pay to house the woman, and or is that money going to get paid back to the village? Is that something that we can discuss here? Mayor?
We're not going to discuss it in general announcements. We can, yeah. Okay, we can do it after the third thing that's on the agenda if you want to discuss that.
Mayor, I have some announcements.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you guys for coming out today. A couple of things. Tomorrow, I am having a pre-Thanksgiving dinner for you guys. It is free to all my Dolton residents. I always give back to my community over my 7 years sitting on this board. I am located at 15800 State inside South Suburban College. The name of my restaurant is called Good Burger. I will be feeding everybody from 4 to 6, so come in, get free food, sit down, talk to me, ask any questions, bring a neighbor, bring some kids. It's free, you guys. You don't have to do anything or give anything. Just show up and come and talk to your trustee, the people's trustee, that is. Next, I also am having a pre-Christmas clothing drive. Now, you guys know I have a little girl. Her name is Justice. I try to teach my baby to give back as well. So me and her have decided to give back all her clothes. So she's about 8 months now. We are giving her clothes back from 1 month to 9 months. So anybody that got any little ones, grandkids, or anybody that need clothes or can't fit anything, please, 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 please reach out to me. My cell number is 708-297-6859. Again, the number is 708-297-6859. And what I want to do is wrap all those gifts and give them up to you guys. She only wore them once, so they are brand new. She got plenty of clothes, plenty of toys, bouncies, everything. So if you need it, please reach out to me. I got something for the seniors. I got free wigs for the seniors for Christmas. So if you guys need wigs, and also you guys know I'm a big advocate of cancer survival and just supporting you as you go through your situation. So reach out for that as well. Last but not least, mental illness. You guys know we have a situation going on here in the village of Dolton as it relates to mental illness. I think that we need to train our police officers. Everyone saw everything on the news, and basically I am here to give resources to do so. I did reach out to this organization, Everybody Counts, Inc. They're located in Maryville, Indiana. So I want to advise the board if we could look at a proposal I did get from them. They was ranging from $8,000. They said they'll cut it in half to $4,000 just to help Dolton out, because everybody saw everything over the news as it related to the police officer handling a mental illness situation in our village. All lives matter. No matter what situation you're in, you still should be treated fairly and like a human being. Thank you. End of my report.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is security camera ordinance. Trustee Henry.
Okay. I put this on the agenda, which y'all know we've been talking about it for several months. Security cameras in the village of Dolton. The crime rate is outrageous here, and I figured that we had to do something about it by making the business owners aware that they need to have security surveillance in their stores. This applies to all liquor licensees. They have to come up with security cameras that is accessible to our police officers within 60 days. This will go into effect from the day that it is passed. It won't get passed tonight, because tonight is only discussion. It'll get passed the first week in December. But if the board have any more questions, we talked about it. It got vetted through. The attorney wrote an ordinance as it relates to it. Please chime in.
No questions for me. No question. I'm in agreement with it.
I'm in agreement.
No question.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the Freedom of Information Act FOIA request process.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Chief. Go ahead.
Okay, in relation to Trustee Henry's comment, crime has been down outside of the recent homicides that we had with the 3 ladies. They were not targeted. They were victims of stray bullets. And since that spree has hit Dolton, we have been extra quiet. We've been so quiet that I find myself looking at my work phone just to make sure it's on. So I take offense to you steady saying crime is high. Crime is high all over, not just Dolton. We just seem to get publicized, and I would appreciate it, Trustee, that before you put those comments out there, that you meet with me prior to the meeting. I have all the stats. You can look at the daily blotter. I could print it out, but I take very offensive to that because myself, along with the entire department, is working and bending our backs backwards to keep this village safe, along with the assistance of the county. I've incorporated some things that the supervisors are challenging the officers to do, and I think it's paying off. We have brought on 7 officers, and all of this is paying off. So for you to keep saying that, last meeting you said that as well, and I didn't say anything, but please sit down with me. You called me on a lot of things. Please meet with me. I'm more than happy to give you any information that you need, but I will not let you keep slandering the police department when we have been doing a good job and crime is not up like that. So I'm telling you, citizens, crime is not up like that. We haven't had a homicide, praise God, knock on wood, since then. We had shots fired, but nobody has been shot. Okay, and a lot of things that's on this Ring app and the neighborhood app, some of the most of I say about 50% of the things reported on there are false. So if ever you want to know if something happened, the police department is open 24/7. We have clerks on duty. You can call and ask or ask about your concerns or anything. And that's all I have. Thank you.
And Mayor, I'm not beating up on the police department. Truth is, crime is high in my village. The problem is it don't all get reported. So when I'm saying crime is high, crime is high. We just had a shooting a month ago, but no one knows about that, do they? So stop saying that I'm just beating up on y'all. I'm not even talking directly to you guys. It is. Warn the citizens that crime is high in the village so they know what to do. That's all I'm saying.
Trustee, I'm not a politician. I'm not going to go back and forth. So if you want to have the last words, you can. But please just sit down with me and we can go over numbers, because that's factual. And what you're saying, it's one thing that that really perturbs me about certain things, that you live in the same village, but the way you put stuff out there, you say you're helping the community and want your community to know, but if everything you're putting out is negative, what does that say for you as well as the village? You know, you talk about helping and giving back and so forth, but every time when you're on a scene and you Facebook Live and before the family even knows, that's not right. That's not right. So I'm just please asking you,
Sit down.
from the acting chief of police to a trustee, to please sit down with me before you say that. And you're saying it's not targeted at the police, but who handles the crime? The police department. So I take offense to it, and I think you are targeting us and making us look bad. Crime is happening all over.
Just for your information, we reviewed our crime stats with the county. We've been getting intelligence from the county where shootings have been happening, where crime has been happening, and our numbers are down. We had an extensive conversation with the county officials who monitor all our traffic, monitors all our incidents. It's put on paper. They gave us areas where there were hot spots, and since we've got that intelligence, we've deployed our police in those areas. And really to say that when you say crime is outrageous, that's not true. We have the facts. We have documented facts, and they stay in contact with us on a weekly basis. They've deployed the other night 10 sheriff's cars out here. State police has been out here. I just talked to the state police commander on Saturday. They made some arrests. They weren't from our city. They made a couple of gun arrests. They're stopping it. And with the visibility of these police out here, not just ours, but the sheriff and the state police, our crime is down. They go another direction. So we've got the stats that compare us with our surrounding communities, and in comparison to those communities, our crime is down. Okay, go ahead.
Recognize for you move.
Go ahead.
You know what? I'm going to stand on that with the chief. I'm going to stand on that with this community. The biggest police we got out here is the community with the eyes and the ears. And the crime is not outrageous out here. Block by block. The community is reporting what's happening. And they looking and they learning. We don't have an okay corral out here, but I guarantee you one thing. If you step across that line and you do your history, you will see how hard these detectives and these police are in court solving these cases every day. And these are not new cases. These are just old cases. 5 things happen out here. 4 cases have been solved. 1 person is still on the run, and they still going to court for other cases. So compare this city to other cities. Compare this village to other village. Police department, detectives are doing a good job out here, along with the community, because community come first. They report it, get it to the officers, they deal with it, and leave it in God's hands. Thank you.
Trustee, go ahead. You want to talk about Freedom of Information Act?
Yeah, we're moving on.
Pardon me?
I said yes, we're moving on. Okay, I put this on here because we have been getting a lot of complaints as it relates to freedom of information, FOIA requests. People have called me and stated that they requested things from this village, and we either A, gave them partial of the information, or they have been waiting past the 5 days for requests. So basically, I'm just asking, what's the process for getting a FOIA?
Yes, Trustee, the process is by state law that in receipt of a Freedom of Information Act request, the village is to respond within 5 business days, or to acknowledge that it's not able to respond within 5 business days. Those requests come to me. I forward them when applicable to staff. And I don't think this is any surprise to anyone up here, we are not always able to respond. But when folks follow up with an inquiry, I do my best to respond.
Some of the FOIA requests have been so lengthy that requested several years of information, and many times you can't get that out in 5 days. So the process hasn't changed.
No, the process is the same as it was when trustees were required to undergo the training when newly elected.
Anyone else want to comment on that? Okay, next thing on the agenda is Melody Fitness Center. Trustee Steve.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. We, in the process of gaining revenue at Melody Fitness, we are really changing the spirit and the attitude over at Melody Fitness. Is exciting. People are coming back. We got renewals and new memberships every day. But we also have a massage room, therapy room that we want to rent out. So that's another way of generating revenue in Melody Fitness. So we want the gym to be. I want the gym to have a whole health experience when you come there. So this weekend we had the Detox Cafe had smoothies with Mickey. I mixed that two together. But it was interesting because a lady came there, a young lady who lived in Dolton, And she said, I follow the detox lady on Instagram, but I thought she was downtown. And she said, I found it, it's right down the street from me. So she was excited just to come over there, get a smoothie, get a membership. So we're bringing a lot of new energy over there, and we want to make this place self-sufficient. The members are up. The money that we're generating there is up. So I'm going to have Lloyd come in. He's the part-time business manager that we have over there. He's going to talk about the new person that wants to rent out the massage therapy room. But like I said, again, this is a way to generate revenue and make this place self-sufficient and make it a real holistic, healthy place experience when you come to Melody Fitness.
Thank you, Trustee Steve. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mayor. So we are very excited, like Trustee Steve said, about the things that we're doing over at the fitness center. We have, how many of you have been able to see or been able to visit the cafe at Melody Fitness Center? Okay, cool. So if you have not been, it's a great experience. You have very knowledgeable staff there. They're friendly, but it's all about health and wellness. So in that vein, we are offering, we have a massage therapy room. We have a young lady who we vetted. We posted it on the website as well for those who are interested in coming and offering their service for the room, for the space. But this young lady is offering a form of massage therapy called Reiki, which is just a energetic touch massage therapy that's going to be offered at Melody Fitness. So we're seriously considering her as a candidate to rent, and we're very excited about that because that's another point of revenue. All we've been talking about is increasing membership and increasing the revenue so we can help offset some of the costs. So thank you very much.
And we also had, we put it out there, we had a few residents come past and I took them on a tour. They were interested in renting the place, but they said it maybe was too small. So we had a few people who were looking at the place, but she was the one that was serious, came with, really settled down and was serious about it. The other people, they said it was a little too small for them, but we're really changing the spirit over there. So I would encourage everybody to come over there and experience Melody Fitness, the pool, and just the workout facility. It's just a good place to be.
What is the charge? How much would it be?
Oh, for the massage therapy?
Yes.
Okay. The rates will be once she is accepted. I think she has some.
No, you talking about the rental rates of the space or the rates for the massages? Oh, you have to talk to her. Trustee, then you got to come over there.
Once she's established, once she's accepted, of course she's going to offer that. But I know she's going to offer special low rates in the beginning to build up. She comes with the clientele, but she wants to service the community of Dolton as well.
That would be a separate charge. You get her services, just like the cafe. You have to pay for the smoothies and the salad and stuff like that.
No, you can come.
Yeah, but we encourage you to do both.
Because we're trying to increase membership, of course.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all.
That's it. So if I can get an agreement or agreement from the board to move forward with this massage therapy rental of that space.
Oh, but do we know what she would be paying monthly?
Oh, $500 a month.
Is that the going rate y'all give everybody over there?
So that's where we're starting at right now.
So why y'all didn't put this out for bid?
I did put it out for bid.
So this the only person that turned it in?
Yeah, I just said that. I said I had two other people come over there and actually we put it out there and they actually toured it, but they said it was too small. Or I had about 3 people looking at the place. So that was so we did put it out there. And one like I said, 2 Dolton residents came over there because they seen it and they took a tour of the place.
And where was it at? Was it?
We put it on social media. We put it up there when you come in there, and that's how I got around the people who were interested. That's how they found out about it.
Okay, so why don't y'all ever let us know something's out for bid so we can also give it to other people as well? So why don't the board know? I didn't see this.
Well, I'm letting you know now.
It's done. It's over with now.
It's not over with now.
It is. You just said you put it out for bid already.
Well, Trustee Henry, since I've been here, you haven't came over there yet. Just come over there. Come over there one time. Just once. And you will find out what's
That
going
ain't my
on.
question. I know
I'm
you
just saying,
said
what,
That's enough.
My
That's
question
enough.
was, why didn't I get an
He-
email about it?
He put it out there. It's,
Put it
it's
out
so,
there.
it's
Yep.
done. It's over with.
Deflecting always.
Trustee, Steve, you had something to say?
No, that's it. That's it. Can I just get an agreement from the board to move forward with that?
I'm good with it.
I'm all in favor of trying to get some more revenue so they can be self-sufficient, so I'm with it.
I agree.
Let's move forward.
Okay.
I know when it's time to vote.
All right, we got 4.
All right. One more thing I asked a question earlier. The price that we paid to let that lady stay in a hotel room from that moldy house that Trustee Hinyard manages or owns, the price was $540 that we paid to house her for a month. So what's the process of getting that money back?
It was for, the regular price was $350 a week that the hotel wanted to charge. They said it would discount it since it was an emergency situation. He was trying to help the young lady. They charged us $270 a week. We paid for 2 weeks. And there was someone else that paid for 2 weeks for her.
Okay, so what's the process of getting that money back to the village? That money was put out. But Trustee Hinyard would be interested in paying that money back to the village?
Our village attorneys...
Y'all are out of order. Where's the attorney at?
Our village attorney suggested that we pursue those costs to Trustee Hinyard.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to know.
Okay.
And for the record, y'all do know this is a government meeting. This has nothing to do with civil matter. Just for the record, Mayor K.
Okay.
For the record, anytime you got public money getting used, we have a right to address public money being used.
Okay. I just want to mention the fact that our annual Thanksgiving dinner is next Tuesday, Elizabeth? Yes. Tuesday the 26th at the Dorchester. We are going to be senior dinner. Senior. Now some people say what constitutes a senior? Not 45 years old. I think what was it? What did we say? 55 or 50? I don't know. Somewhere in there. But anyway, you have to be a Dolton resident. And right now, we're prepared to feed about 400 people. And we have RSVP for probably about 360 people right now. So we're going to, you maintain the list with RSVPs, right, Elizabeth? So it will be from 3 to 6. We're going to check the list to see if you RSVP, and we're going to cut it off. We're going to cut it off when we get those 400 RSVP people. Now, last year we turned away over 100 people that came from Chicago and surrounding communities. So you must have an ID, must be a senior, and you must have RSVP, because in the next day or so we're going to be at 400. We're just going to be cutting it off. Okay, citizens address.
Mayor, can I ask you one question?
Go ahead, Trustee.
Will there be a turkey giveaway this year as well?
There is. Now, we normally give for the last 6 years 1,000 turkeys away. Our totally sponsored by vendors. It cost us, the high end was $21,000 that was donated from vendors. The low end was $15,300. When it was high, it was because we get our turkeys from Walmart, and the 1 year they were mixed. They were huge turkeys, 20, 21 pounds, 22 pounds. On some occasions when we request them, I usually request between 13 and 17 pound turkeys. Some years they can accommodate us with the smaller turkeys, some years they cannot. So right now, we don't know where we're at. We've only collected about $7,000. We may, in the last few days, like we've had in some of the past years, people start calling and donating money. That hasn't happened yet. If it doesn't happen in the next 2 or 3 days, we'll probably just wind up giving away about anywhere between 400 and 600 turkeys. So first come, first serve. We normally do it from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Last year in 20 minutes we gave out 400 turkeys. Had 79 and everything was smooth. So one of the years we start 10 o'clock every year, right on the dot. But some people stand out there at 5:30 in the morning waiting for a turkey. So the warmer the weather it is, the earlier the people come out. The colder it is, you still have people come out, but they don't come out as quickly as 4 to 5 hours before we begin giving the turkeys away. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I don't want to touch this mic. Every time I do, it fall apart. But I want to concur with the chief.
Pull down the back part. Not the mic itself. Okay.
I want to concur with the chief. And Tiffany, you know I do love you. But we cannot be sending out no false nothing when it comes to crime out here. It has been quiet. And when I say I'm a walker and a bike rider, believe me, you would know if it had got worse. And I like to be able to come to the chief and share some information with him, because one thing's for sure, to have somebody that you can go to and let him know, oh, by the way, yeah, it's a car cracker that live right here in Dolton. Ain't no need of me not saying nothing, because personally, I really do believe that the chief can help me with this, and since they let it be so boldly known, when I be moving around here, I figure I'm bold enough to help the chief move them right out of Dolton, because personally, she on house arrest right now. I don't think she should be in Dolton. So see, when you move through the community like this, Holmes did just say it. That's pretty much what we gotta start doing now. Because that not saying nothing, that's how you get a neighborhood. I really don't want to live in a neighborhood right now. I like to return to living in a community, and the community has everything. A neighborhood sends you outside your community for everything. I like to speak on our library. I'm asking y'all to please start popping in our library, you know, because we're doing some things for our seniors. But I'd also like to speak to I know you're not supposed to answer, so I'm asking if I can direct it. I'll send it to Mary Kay or whoever else, because I never get a response back when I send it in. I'm trying not to up the fine for an answer for Trash Tree Mountain, and I've been real patient. I'm gonna send it in. This is my final warning, and I will start executing them fines to everybody ignoring me.
Hey everybody, I'm going to be quick. Trustee Steve, I just had one quick question about the massage rental. That sounds good, but one thing, what about the insurance? Is that person going to be responsible for the insurance?
Yes, she has her own insurance. She has an insurance that she covers, just like the Rashida Detox Cafe. She has her own insurance that they cover them for themselves. That's mandatory, even the trainers.
Okay. All right, good. And I just want, Chief, I want to mention something to you and the citizens and those that are watching. On this past Friday, and I hope the parents pay attention to this, I was sitting in my living room, and my daughter and I were watching television. The dogs started barking. So with them barking, we looked out the window, and there was 2 young men that were standing outside the window, and they were waving like this. So my daughter kept looking, and she said, "Ma, you looking for any company?" I said, "No." So then they started to holler, "You got my phone, you got my phone." So it was so vicious the way that they were speaking, we got nervous. We called 911. Now, I'm pretty sure that their intent was not the way it was perceived, but it was so loud, it brought everybody to the door. We opened up the door and said, what are you talking about? What they said was that they had been attending a basketball game, practice on 142nd at one of the churches. Somebody stole their phone, and they had an app. The app sent them directly to my house that said that the stolen phone was inside. And so we called the police. The police came out. It was 3 officers, very nice, took charge of everything. Officer 113 and the other one I didn't get. But we explained to the young men, they were standing in front of the house in the dark and they had hoodies on. What did they think? How we were going to respond to them. The police told them that you cannot always rely on these apps because they don't tell you the truth. If we had been vicious people, the situation could have been worse, or the police could have been worse. So I know their intention was probably good, but they don't know what's on the other side of that door, and we don't know what their, at the time, what their intention was, because they were hollering and screaming, come outside, come outside, my phone is inside. But we called 911. I think I kind of frightened the 911 operator because she was nervous, and she said, we'll get somebody there right away. They did come right away. They took care of the situation. They even sat in the car for a while, the young men did. And so the police went and asked them, say, okay, is everything straight? You guys got to go. So they sat there for a minute, but then they left. But I just want the parents to know that we could have put them in harm's way. They could have put us in harm's way. But we have to tell our children, be mindful of the things that you do. And what we told them was what they should have done was to call the police. And if the app said that your phone was at such and such place, that's what the police was for, to have them come, not to put your life in jeopardy, because the life could have been taken by somebody in, not my house, but the house, or it could have been a bad situation for the police. So I just want Channel 4 and the other station to know that. Talk to your children about those apps. Okay, Chief? Thank you.
Also, if I may add, just be mindful of what season we're in. The holiday season, it's a lot of scams and trickery going on. That worked out well for you, but that could be a deployment just to get you to open your door so they can do a home invasion or rob you. So if anybody experienced anything like that, you can look out your window and see what's going on out your peephole, or look through your security camera, but do not open the door. Just call the police and give the best description as possible until the police arrive.
Good evening, Board, Mayor. Just a couple of things. I think it's great that Melanie is moving forward. I still don't have a membership. But I do have a question, however. You're very crafty in how you're generating revenue, and I think this question might be directed to the mayor. Do we still house the housing agency in the lower level that's supposed to help residents? Are they still housed here?
I'm not sure. Elizabeth, have they even moved in?
Here and the Park District, Dolton Park
Okay.
District, because they're unable to do CETA in this building because we're not ADA accessible and whatnot, so they have to go to the Park District.
So are we charging them rent yet?
No.
So that's a revenue source that we could have, and we're not charging them rent, but we charge rent at Melanie's?
They're generating income for themselves at Melanie. This service that we're providing here, they're helping our residents. They're not generating any income from us
So
or the residents.
Is there insurance in place that could be a liability? What if they get hurt? Who's responsible?
We've considered that.
You've considered it?
Yes.
So if someone gets hurt, who's responsible? At this point, because there's no insurance in place, right?
Incorrect.
Did you say correct or incorrect? Correct. So is that something that you're going to put in place, because now it's a liability to the village?
Well, it's the liability to the village to open that door up. So if they came here for a permit and they got hurt, who would be responsible?
We're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody occupying a space that's generating. I'm certain they're getting paid for whatever services they do.
Possibly.
Oh, they are. Mayor, come on, don't do that. Insult my intelligence, don't. Because,
don't insult mine.
Well, sir, you are having people that are working outside of the village facilities at no cost, right? They're a nonprofit agency. Nonprofits pay rent all the time.
Okay.
So I'm just curious why we have to take on that liability.
Okay. We'll take it under advisement.
Take it under advisement. I'll bring it up again. Next thing, regarding the cameras. Personally, I don't feel like that was a direct insult to anyone. I think that was a precautionary measure that Trustee Henry brought up to have the cameras. So I don't think that, for me, it didn't feel offensive. So I'm sorry that people got offended, but I think that we should be precautionary, even though the crime may be down now. We don't know what's to happen. So why not have the cameras, and don't get offended by it, because we did have a spike in the crime around here. So it was a precautionary measure.
I'm not sure what you missed, but there was a consensus to take up.
I didn't miss that. What I'm saying is the comments that came were saying they were offensive by her bringing it up.
No, they weren't. It wasn't about the cameras being brought up.
Chief, did you not say you were offended by that?
He was offended.
It was not about the cameras. It was about saying the crime.
So the crime has slowed down, but we did have a spike in it. So why not?
Right, but that wasn't.
It had nothing to do with the
cameras. That had nothing to do with the cameras. It was just talking about crime is outrageous when it has not been outrageous.
Did you
when
say
it's outrageous, I'll take that.
Okay.
When every suburban gets hit, Chicagoland, we border Chicago, we get a lot of stuff that spills over, but the truth of the matter is, I want the residents to know that the police are working hard, and it has not. It's been very quiet. It's been so quiet that it's actually been scary since the 3.5 years that I've been here. I've been here since 2016, and my phone has never been this quiet in the last 3 months. So for her to say that it's outrageous, you need to be saying, hey, let's applaud our police for it being down. But let's keep moving forward and keep hiring officers. But it didn't have anything to do with the cameras. I'm in support of that. Cameras are the #1 crime solver right now today in this day and age. So I welcome cameras in all residents and businesses.
Okay. I just thought it sounded as though you were offended by her comment, so I misunderstood that. But I would like to see a revenue stream come from renters. No, they're not renting, they're just taking up space, and we are liable for that. And last thing, Trustee Steve, you opened up a can of worms talking about reimbursing monies for someone staying in a hotel. That's tax dollars that paid for that? Was that Dolton tax dollars that paid for that? So was that something that we normally do, and that should have gone to Red Cross, and why are we paying for it?
If you seen the report, it was I guess a serious situation.
I did see that, but
it was a serious situation, and it had to happen. So all I was asking is, can we recoup that money? That's it.
But why
we don't have time. I don't know if we have enough time to go to Red Cross when she had nowhere to stay at the time.
So when people get displaced on other emergency situations, do we fit the bill for that?
I don't think anybody got displaced because of mold in the house.
Doesn't matter if it's mold or a fire. Come on now. Why are we paying for someone to stay somewhere because they got displaced? And why did she stay that long?
Good evening, everyone. My question is about the FOIA requests. On several occasions, I've had someone to request a FOIA on my behalf to Clerk Dugan. The last one was requested on August 12th, 2019. She did not receive it on my behalf until October the 3rd, almost 3 months later. And that's not the first time. On several occasions, I've had someone on my behalf to ask for a FOIA request, and I did not receive it until months later, and when I received it, it was incomplete. And I have a problem with that. So I understand the proper protocol, and matter of fact, you even acknowledged her that to give you 5 more days. That 5 more days turned into almost 2 months. And and then we still didn't get all the information. So that's one of the reasons why we had a transparent ordinance, So a lot of the stuff could be posted on the website, and we wouldn't have to ask for a FOIA request because it would be posted on the website. Can you tell me why it took so long?
I have nothing new to explain to the trustees since I've been playing this record for several years. Given the volume of the requests, given the nature of the requests that may involve response from different departments, departments are understaffed, I am understaffed, we do the best we can.
Okay, and then you replied to her that you would give it to her in 5 days. And that 5 days turned into 2 months, and you never sent another request to have ample time to look up more information.
And I'm responding to who? You or someone on your behalf?
Someone on my behalf.
Well, I would suggest, trustee, that if you have a question about failure to respond to a request made on your behalf, and I share this with anyone who follows up, to follow up with me.
It was followed up with you, and your response was you would have it in 5 days. According to, wait a minute.
Well, I can't comment on the specific request, but if the person who filed on your behalf wishes to bring that up with me, I'd be happy to speak with the person who filed on your behalf as to why the response was not forthcoming when I said.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mary Kay. My last question is pertaining to what Trustee Steve said about a reimbursement of $500 from Trustee Henyard for putting a young lady up in the hotel because she didn't have any place to go because there was mold in the house. Now, I have my first question to that, because it's a two-part question real quick. Did you have it, did anybody have this house tested for mold? Anybody? Anybody that's putting out that the house had mold in it, did anybody have it tested for mold? Did any inspectors have it tested for mold? How do you know it was mold? Can anybody answer that?
Ms. Stubbs, we've reached the 3-minute mark.
I have one more question. The other part to that question is this. Did any of the trustees that's sitting on the board today take a vote to pay for that young lady's stay in the hotel with her kids? Anybody? Any trustees?
No, we didn't. We didn't have time to come to a board meeting and vote on it. No.
You could have did it by phone.
Trustee,
You could have did it, sir. You could have did it by phone. You could have took a consensus by phone.
All right, 3 minutes is up. Thank you. I heard you.
So we'll go back. Come on. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Beth. I am a 20-year resident of the village of Dolton. I have two concerns. The first concern that I have was that I believe that people should walk or march against cancer or violence. But we have very interesting streets in Dolton, and I think that people could march, have signs, and walk down streets instead of Sibley. And I think that it's very dangerous to march on Sibley. And I also think that we have to be more careful in the future, that if you gather at a property that someone owns and they ask you to have an insurance bond and you don't have that, that's an issue. And there were some people that were mocking and laughing at the last meeting as if that wasn't important, but it is. Because if there was a bad injury on a property, it would affect me and my husband, because we would have to pay as a village of Dolton for that problem. And in the future, we need to be more careful about marching on Sibley. I don't think it's good. I think we should not maybe do that. My other concern is that on Friday, there were approximately 25 youth and teenagers that attend Thornridge High School We pay taxes to that school. They should be teaching them manners, values, how to respect others, how to conduct themselves. And there were 25 youth on the corner of 155th and Dobson. They almost started 3 fist fights. They were angry. They were milling around. We did call the police, and they were told to disband, and they did not disband. And so I had to go out there. I had to talk to them. They were very disrespectful to me. Then today I spoke to them, and they were very disrespectful again. So I went to Thornridge High School, and I talked to them at the security desk. And the reason that I'm saying this in this meeting is I want all of their parents to hear me say this, because they're not going to admit to their parents what they did. And the school told me that they also were at 154th and Cottage at the Sitco, and they made a problem there. So they need to learn manners. They need to conduct themselves better.
Kiana Belcher, Dolton resident. Question, and it's feeding back off of Trustee Stubbs. We have, well, I guess it was presumed that the resident was Section 8. They come out annually, and I'm sure our code enforcers go out. Nobody never said anything about this issue. I mean, because it's become a citizens issue when y'all pay the money, although it's a civil issue which should have been handled way outside of our guards. But since y'all sit here on the board talking about a trustee needs to pay money back to a board that never went across nobody and it's our tax dollars, then at this point, now we have the right to ask the question about what happened with code enforcement. If it was Section 8 or however Section 8 people came out, so who decided that it was an emergency? Because I've known plenty of people in the village of Dolton that have been displaced by fires and other things, and the boards ain't did a damn thing about it. Code enforcer, any fines? Nobody's gonna say anything about it?
They had nothing to say about it.
Absolutely, that's how it is. So yeah, stop asking for the money back. Take it as a loss. Y'all all get checks for expenses. Take it as a loss. But I don't think that it should be our problem that you come in and waste our time, keep asking about something that was a civil issue that should not be even obtained on this board.
Everybody already know why I'm here. I'm here in regards to my water bill. My water is still shut off. It was shut off in the same month I paid for it to get shut on. You can plainly see from the paperwork that the only thing you add in your accounting to that balance is a penalty fee from my bill. And take the cash payments I give you and subtracted it from that $2,400 all the way till I paid zero. And then when Stan called himself correcting it, once you fired him, that was over with. So I never got recouped for that. But yet my water's off. And then when did you start billing in 4 numbers? It's always been 3. So once you hit $9.99, it should be going back to 0, right? But I'm still getting these bills. I have a bill where I paid for the minimum usage, but it's not accounted for. It says 0 consumption. Why is that? Because right now, instead of getting billed at 34 units extra per cycle, I'm getting billed at 64 units extra per cycle. I shouldn't have to run you through federal court to get this straight. No one should be telling me to talk to the village attorney, and why isn't he present? I'm displaced because I have fraudulent bills and my water is shut off. Are any of you willing to pay that? You paying for my room? Any of you, because you actually owe me money. So are you going to pay for my room? And then third, why is that valve still uncovered? I've called Public Works numerous times. Why would you just leave it uncovered and open for the elements? So the pipes can freeze, Matt Stace? I'm sure you got, just like you aggressively came to shut it off, you should aggressively come and cover that valve. Because what kind of damage is that going to do to the pipes? And when is my water being shut on? Because everybody, I don't care about no mold. I care about murders and I care about corruption. That's what I care about. So when are you coming to shut my water on? Because you have proof, you got the documents, when are you shutting my water on? Everybody quiet. Why are you quiet? You got the documents, why is everybody quiet?
We can't comment on anything.
Why you can't comment? You comment on everything else? You say that you're not responsible for the day-to-day operations in Dolton, but as mayor, you are responsible for the day-to-day operations in Dolton. What do you think you do?
Yeah.
You're responsible for day-to-day operations, irregardless of what department it is. I want my water shut on. You have facts and proof from your village that you owe me money. Why was I ever billed from a $2,400 balance that did not belong to me? I bought that house. When will my water be shut on? And when are you coming to cover that valve you left uncovered in the street?
We've reached the 3-minute mark.
We have, but a man stood right here, said he paid $4,500, $800, and some other kind of $100 in regards to his water bill down at the club. Why wasn't his water cut off? But you cut me off the same month I paid. You cut me off and you know you owe me money? How dare you? How dare you sit there and not have an answer for what you done? Cheat. Yes. Okay, that's fine, and I will be dragging y'all through court. See you in federal court. You will be locked up before it's over with me and my money. Trust and believe.
Good evening, everyone. Hope I can get a response instead of silence on this one. This is primarily to the clerk and the mayor. I was at a recent finance meeting and I implored the 2 persons on the finance committee to get a message to you, Madam Clerk, to update. There's an ordinance called the Transparency Ordinance that has not been updated in over a year. Can you tell the public when will our ordinance be updated, the Transparency Ordinance, which is on the VO Dolton website? Madam Clerk, that's to you.
No, Trustee, I cannot. As you recall, when the board passed this ordinance, I expressed my concerns at that time. More than my concerns, I emphatically stated that, given the demands of my time at that time, I would not be able to maintain the Transparency Ordinance portal. At that time, as you recall, the requirement of the ordinance was to post items on the agenda. At that time, we had a full-time webmaster, and even then I said, I cannot do it. I do not have the support to transmit those items to the webmaster in a timely fashion, even if I receive them from staff who are also burdened. The items that you require come to me from staff. Staff is overburdened. I did not see myself able to make up that deficiency when we had a full-time webmaster. You may recall that sometime after that, when you were finance chairman, you and the board of trustees opted to terminate the position of webmaster. Since that time, over a year ago, we have not been able to replace that position with a full-time. And under the state statutes, the Village of Dolton is not required to maintain a website without a full-time webmaster.
Okay, thank you for your response. But in layman's terms, the FOIA, and someone asked what's a FOIA, that stands for the Freedom of Information Act that was instituted by the federal government in 1967. You said it's a state statute, which it is, but it's backed also by the federal government. You have not posted the following, and I mentioned it to the finance department, the finance reports, the monthly bills that are paid, which are called the corporate payments, or the bills that we pay per month. there is no excuse for this not being done for over a year. That's number one. Number two, you gave your answer, which was unacceptable. Number two, I put in a FOIA request. I was at a recent finance meeting, and it was said in the finance report that we have over $17 million in the bank. I asked you for 2 FOIA requests of, I believe it was September and the month that preceded that, and you only sent 1 month, and then I gave you another request for the previous month, and you never responded. But as other persons have stated, there are times that we give you FOIA requests, but you don't complete them. They come in late, and then when you do send them in to us, the residents, whoever needs the information, they're not complete. So why is it on a recent one, and it should be in your mind, because you said there are so many, but the one that I personally sent you, not representing me, was concerning the monies that's supported by the general fund, that you only sent me 1 month and not the 2 that was requested.
Trustee, I looked again at that request, and I sent you 14 separate attachments from the accounting firm of Kasperick, as I requested, and they date from August through October. The file I sent you was headed October, but if you look, it is a zip file, and if you break that open, it should be from 14 separate files from August to October. So I believe we did respond to that. If for whatever reason you cannot open that and find the additional files, I'd be happy to resend it to you.
No, I opened the file, and it's not as you just stated. And also, it does not show, based upon the monies that's in our bank, of the $17 million that's stated on the finance report.
Well, that's a separate question, so I'm only responsible for sending you the files that you requested.
I'm stating that for the public and for the record. I'm talking about your responsibility that you are in violation of an ordinance that was passed over 3 years ago, that ordinance, which is the transparency ordinance, is to be updated. You and this administration is in violation. You say you don't have staff. I mentioned to the finance department, if you need staffing in order to do that, you should request it. You say that you're thank you, sir, that you're inundated with work, but should you at least put in a request for some help, at least to get it updated? Thank you.
Sir, I would refer you to my previous budget request for each previous year.
And I'm sorry, Mary Kay, I do want this on public record. Sangate London, I believe, on the 11th of this month, on the 4th of this month, she did speak about somebody else's public water bill business here at the meeting. Can we show it to us in writing? Well, you should show it in writing.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, the village administrators. My question this evening, your name is Sanye? You're the pardon me? My question to this evening, as I asked with the prior individual that's over the water department, are you qualified to be, are you the administrator over the water department? And is that the only thing that you do, and are you qualified for that? Okay, so I can FOIA the qualifications you have to be the administrator of the water department? If you like, yes. Okay. Then my next question is to the trustees. I asked the mayor a question at Coffee with the Mayor, this past previous one, about putting a limitation on, can you think about when you're able to turn water off? Because the mayor stated that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if you owed any balance to the village, they can cut your water off.
I never stated that.
You didn't say that? Okay,
I never stated that.
I said you could correct me if I was wrong.
And I am. I never said that, and that's why we tape stuff.
Okay.
So we can play it back. I never said that if you owed any balance, it was eligible to be cut off.
Okay.
You asked me about notices.
Right. I asked you about notices and
cut off notice.
Right.
Okay. And I told you on the bill where it's located on the bill in regards to how you became eligible, would become eligible for turn off. It's right on the bill. Every bill that goes out, it has it on it.
So may I ask the question of the trustees and the mayor this evening? Is there an amount, and to the administrator, is there an amount that you have to have owed to the village that would entail your waters being cut off? If that amount is $100, if you owe the village $100, because it used to have $300, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Mary Kay, is that? I'm just trying to get a clarification.
Yeah. What? Usually, when the bill is cut off.
Pardon me?
Usually, when the bill is cut off.
Yes, sir.
When the water is cut off. It's the second quarter.
Okay.
So you're already 90 days past due. And when that second bill come out, that means you're almost 6 months past due. And that's when usually the water is turned off.
So it is not a dollar amount.
It's not a dollar amount.
So
correct me if I'm wrong, Sonia.
Correct. It's not a dollar amount. On the actual water bill, it states the amount due and the amount due date. And if it's not paid by that due date, the past due date, you're subject to be cut off. So there is not a dollar amount.
So it is whatever that's past due.
Anything that's past due is subject to be cut off for that dollar amount.
And you have to remember that it becomes past due in that 6 month. It's already 90 days past due. So it's outstanding when you get it on that second bill.
Well, I'm here to tell you that didn't happen. And my concern and my question to the trustees.
It didn't happen when? Or where?
It didn't happen. It didn't happen like that. So, and then...
We'll give you an example.
I'm not giving an example. I'm just letting you know that it didn't happen. That's why I wanted a clarification.
So it's a date. It's a date on the water bill that says you're subject to cut off.
Yes, ma'am.
It's in the middle of the bill.
Okay.
So any amount past that due date.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm asking the board and the trustees, and the mayor, whomever's making decisions, that if you can look at an amount seriously, because when the ComEd sends you a bill and you have a past due amount, if you owe that amount, you can call them and make payment arrangements.
We have that option here with the water department. If you are past due and you cannot pay the bill, we do allow you to come in and make payment arrangements for that past due amount before
your water is shut off.
Correct.
Okay.
But you have to do it before you shut off.
All right.
Correct.
And if you receive no bill, how do you do that?
You need to call the office. The bills come out 4 times a year. If you do not receive a bill, call the office. I've been educating everyone about the billing districts. So you can call the office, get the amount of the bill, and then we'll be glad to tell you that amount, or sometimes we'll send you a statement.
So why am I doing your job?
You're not. The bills go out. We use a third-party vendor.
And I understand that. That's exactly what was told to my neighbor. But my thing is this. Can I ask you guys to sincerely consider a dollar amount before you cut water off? I think that's inhumane. I really do. And I understand that we owe an amount to the city of Chicago. But we owe that amount because of penalties that we have to pay because of money's not being paid. You're penalizing the residents, and I have a problem with that.
Ms. Craig, is there a dollar amount on your gas bill? Is there a dollar amount on your utility bill that they won't turn it off?
I'm asking for this village.
What is that?
There is a dollar amount. If I have a past due amount, I can, before they shut off my bill, my service, I can call and make arrangements.
You can do that here. But there's no set amount. It's not $100, not $50. There's no set amount.
My bill used to say that if we owed X, Y, and Z, that the water would be cut off. If you owe this to the village, the water service will be disconnected. No?
No. Let me ask you this. If you don't get an electric bill in the mail, will they turn your electric off if it goes past due?
If I hadn't called them to make arrangements?
Exactly. Same here.
That's not true.
Okay.
I have evidence of that. I'm just asking. That's all I am. Because it's inhumane to cut someone's water off. And then I'm asking, I also asked the mayor about how cold does it have to be for you not to shut that individual's water off?
What I've experienced in the water department, we do allow payment arrangements for past due bills, but you need to make the arrangement before your water is shut off. A lot of times what I'm experiencing now that the people are making the payment arrangement but are breaching the contract that they arranged. I do consider their income and I do consider fixed income. They are still breaching the contract. They are already 3 months behind, like the mayor said, and I make the arrangement, the next 3 bills come out, now they're 6 months behind, and they breached the contract arrangement that they set up and agreed to, and that's where the no notice come in. So they set it up, and I really believe that's what you're speaking of. The payment arrangement is allowed. If you breach a contract, then there is a waiting period before you can set a new payment arrangement.
How long is the waiting period?
I have it in the office, but they get options, and I always encourage them to call in. If you can't make the payment, call in. We'll extend it a couple of days. So that is the issue that we're having. They're breaching the contracts that they put in place themselves.
Well, and then I would suggest also that I understand, Chief, I apologize, but for the trustees to be getting paid a stipend, for individuals that come here and don't have water on, do you understand that? I went to a meeting in Harvey with the individual from CETA, the president himself, and they talked about bringing in a program there. Can we please try to work with them and whoever else that you do not cut people's water off for long periods of time, like the young man that spoke at last month's meeting?
Do you know what the federal decree is that is hanging over Harvey's head?
Do I know what?
What the federal decree is?
Oh, I know what it is.
Is it hanging over Harvey's head?
I do know.
What is it? What is it?
I know it.
What is it?
I'm repeating that.
They've taken control over Harvey's water system.
I'm not going to repeat that.
Thank you, Ms. Craig.
Asking you guys.
Thank you, Ms. Craig. I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motion second to adjourn. Roll call.
Ladies and gentlemen, bear with me 1 second. Trustee Denton?
Aye. Aye.
Trustee Steve?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Holmes?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned.
Good time.
Always.
Yes.